Ish Rahman, who's former member of the Labour Party's National Executive Committee and joining me now. What would you say to this proposal? Good morning to you.
Morning, Nick. I just think this is a simple call to enable Palestinians from Gaza to reunite with their family members in the UK and just to seek temporary sanctuary until it's safe to return.
How would it be temporary?
Well, it would be temporary because it's like the Ukrainian family scheme visa, which closed back in February, I think, of this year. This is just an application which would allow, just like the Ukrainian nationals, to join their family members in the UK. But currently, there isn't one for Palestinians. Don't forget, Palestinians are very, very implicit on their right to return because current conditions in Gaza have been rendered unlivable because of the Israeli bombardment and the attacks. And indeed, Palestinians in Gaza, many of whom are themselves refugees, have been displaced multiple times in the past 10 months. So from the north to the south of Gaza, people always wanted to stay in Gaza, but because of how violent this war is and the destruction it's caused, leaving is the only option. And those that have family members in the UK, this is just an application for them to be able to bring their family members in the UK.
But isn't that the reality, Mr. Rahman? If you came back to the relative security of the United Kingdom, nothing's going to take you back to what appears to be the bombed-out wasteland of Gaza.
I mean, that is something that the international community need to deal with. Gaza, of a strip of land in Gaza, the people that live in Gaza, it should have been livable. It shouldn't have been bombarded to smithereens where people are not able to get back. But we'll have to remember that family unity is also an undeniable human right, especially in light of the severe and escalating threats to these Palestinian lives. But Israel continues to intensify its aggression on Gaza. And now we're seeing using starvation as a weapon of war. And there's direct violation of multiple orders of the International Court of Justice. So many Palestinians in Gaza now seem to find themselves trapped without any safe or viable path to reunite with their loved ones in the UK until at least it's safe to go back.
With the exception of those who have relatives here in the United Kingdom, if we look at others who are, to use your words, trapped there, why aren't neighbouring Arab states making them welcome, offering them some form of sanctuary?
I'm a citizen. I live in Britain. Palestinian members of the UK residents of Palestinian heritage want to bring their family over.
Yes.
I can talk to you about that. Why other Arab nations where I don't live in or where I've never been to, I can't speak for why they aren't taking it. What I do know is...
Well, are you surprised by their reluctance? It would appear a reluctance to help.
No, but what I am surprised by is the hypocrisy that we have where we waived all fees, salary thresholds, language tests under the Ukraine family scheme, but there is no UK equivalent for Palestinians. The government have done it for the Ukrainians, as you've mentioned, people from Hong Kong,
yes.
Even Afghanistan, some people from Afghanistan. But they can do it for crises with similar severity or same or even worse. Okay. But what's happening in Gaza, I think that's just a matter of whether there is an intention to do it or not.
Lastly, what do you make of the warning sounded by Nigel Farage about what he claims to be the level of criminality in a similar scheme in Denmark?
Well, I just find it particularly racist that if you're going to hold every Palestinian to account for the actions of Hamas, that's equally as racist.
Well, no, he's not. With respect, Mr. Rahman, he's not. He's just saying the numbers he quotes are just over 300 Palestinian reference went to Denmark some time ago, by the way, 1992, of whom 64% have been convicted of crime.
I really don't know about the figures he's talking about. I haven't seen them, but
shouldn't that be of concern?
Well, if the figures are true, I'll look at it, but I don't even know when the figures are. You said it's from 1992. As I said, if you're going to hold every Palestinian to account for the actions of Hamas...
No, it's not the actions of Hamas. I'm so sorry, I'll try again. Please forget, it's convicted, it's nothing to do with Hamas, it's whatever crime it might be. And if the figures are right, and I'd be staggered if Mr. Farage would get that so wrong, 64%, why would we want to welcome them here, lastly?
Because as I was trying to say, but you keep on interrupting me, if you're going to hold every Palestinian to account for the actions of
No,
terrorism
you're missing the point. I think we've had enough
that's
here.
equally
I
as
have
racist.
tried to explain to you these crimes are nothing in Denmark, are nothing in relation to Hamas. They are other crimes. So I'm grateful for your time. Mish Rahman, thank you. You're former member of the Labour Party's National Executive Committee. I sought 3 times to explain these are not related to Hamas. These are other crimes. And I would have thought they sound a warning. But I'm grateful for your time. Thank you. 13 after 7. Daniel Johnson is editor and columnist for the article.com, an online platform for news and for comment. Joins me now. Are you ready to subscribe to this? Good morning, Mr. Johnson.
Good morning, Nick. No, I'm afraid I think this scheme, this proposal, has been around for quite a long time. It was rejected by the last government, and I hope it will be rejected by this government.
Why is it important for it to be rejected? What about those who have family here and are clearly suffering?
Well, I think family members can already apply under existing visa schemes, but this isn't really about family members. If you read the terms of the petition that this campaign has been running, it's about Palestinian individuals affected by the war, so potentially hundreds of thousands of people. And I think Britain cannot possibly accept numbers on that scale from Gaza. What we would be doing is importing the attitudes and the conflicts and the violence from Gaza onto the streets of London and other cities. And we saw last week in Amsterdam where that can lead. You know, there is an attempt going on, I'm afraid, to internationalize this conflict and to make life for, in particular, our Jewish communities here in Europe almost impossible. And that's what I'm worried about, that any very large influx of people from Gaza would almost immediately impact on British Jews who are feeling already extremely insecure after the marches and very hostile, sometimes violent protests of the last year or so. And there are groups here in Britain, such as Palestine Action, which have been mounting really unpleasant, vicious attacks on all kinds of targets around the country.
Daniel Johnson, thank you. You're an editor and columnist for the article.com. Are you ready to give a Gazan a home?